At this point, I have received verdicts. They are in a proper legal fashion. Who is my foreperson? May I have your name and number for the record?
Juror number 1, Marilyn Bunting.
And you did sign these 4 verdicts and date them today?
I did.
Thank you. I will now read them into the record. As to count 1, the verdict reads, we, the jury, find the defendant, Maxwell Anderson, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 1 of the information. As to count 2, we, the jury, find the defendant, Maxwell Anderson, guilty of mutilating a corpse as charged in count 2 of the information. As to count 3, we, the jury, find the defendant, Maxwell Anderson, guilty of arson of property other than a building as charged in count 3 of the information. As to count 4, we, the jury, find the defendant, Maxwell Anderson, guilty of hiding a corpse as charged in count 4 of the information. At this point, I will poll the jury. What that means is as follows. I'm going to have the first jurors stand in the back row on the far right. I'm going to ask you your juror number, and I'm going to ask you, well, stand, and your juror number?
45.
Juror 45, were these and are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Thank you. Next juror.
Juror 23.
Juror 23, were these and are these your verdicts? Thank you.
Juror 29.
Juror 29, were these and are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror 47, were these and are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror 3, were these and are these your verdicts? Thank you. Juror 42, were these and are these your verdicts? Thank you. Front row.
Number 5.
Juror 5, were these and are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Thank you.
Number 1.
Juror 1, were these and are these your verdicts? Thank you.
Number 52.
Juror 52, were these and are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Thank you.
Juror 40.
Juror 40, were these and are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Thank you.
Juror number 21.
Juror 21, were these and are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Thank you.
Juror 36.
Juror 36, were these and are these your verdicts? Thank you. State, are you satisfied with the polling?
Yes.
Defense, are you satisfied with the polling?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then at this point in time, your service is complete. You are done for 4 years. At this point, you are free to talk to anyone you choose or speak to no one. It is completely in your discretion at this point in time. I will come back to the jury room and speak with you in about 2 minutes, okay? Thank you for your time and attention, and I'll be right back. Thank you. Motions.
State moves for judgments of conviction on counts 1 through 4, and I move the court to remand the defendant.
Move for judgment of acquittal on all 4 counts and no position on remand.
At this point in time, I will put in place a remand order. Relative to the motions, I am going to order judgment of conviction to be entered onto the record at this point in time. This jury acted reasonably. They applied facts to law as was required. And at this point in time, I am going to order a pre-sentence investigation. Is either side requesting a recommendation with that pre-sentence?
No.
No.
I'll order a pre-sentence without recommendation. At this point, we will select a sentencing date.
Due to the PSI, we are looking 60 days out. How about the week of August 11th or the week of the 18th?
I'll let the state chime in first. I'm pretty flexible.
I think they're checking with the victims too. Does that work?
The state is good with the week of August 11th would be the preference.
Can
I
we
would
do
just ask for a morning slot if we could.
the 15th at 10 o'clock?
Sure. Jay?
Yes.
The next court date will be calendared for August 15th at 10 o'clock for the sentencing.
We'll see you back then. Thank you.
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you. I have to let it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the reason Maxwell Anderson went to work the next day and didn't cut his hair or do any of that stuff is because he thought he got away with it. Because he did it alone. He did it in the middle of the night. So leaving town, doing that stuff, that brings attention to yourself. That's also why he sends that text message to her the next morning. Hey, morning, how's work going? He's trying to cover up. He thought he was going to get away with it. That's the whole point. Because everything he did the night of this incident was done in the middle of the night in a secluded place that he knew was secluded, that he took her to and cut her up. He thought he got away with it. Let's talk about blood. You saw the images of her on that couch. She's out of it. She is gone. There's no blood in there. You heard from the medical examiner how people can die without blood. Strangulation, suffocation. It's no coincidence that she is face down in his cushions in those. That she is so out of it that he's able to lift her shirt up and grab her breast and yank her pants off without her putting up a struggle. We know as well that the dismemberment, remember the medical examiner talking about the vital reactions, that there were no vital reactions at the areas of amputation. That means no bleeding because she was dead when it happened. And he's doing it down at the lakefront on the shores of a lake on a rainy night. And he talks about no mud, no blood on the shoes or anything like that. He's got this massive backpack with him that he gets rid of, that has never been found. Why? If that backpack is something that's important enough for you to go out at in the middle of the night with, why is it gone? Because he got rid of it. He got rid of it to cover up the crime. The hoodie. Why is it in someone else's dumpster? Why is the hoodie not a hoodie you were wearing while on the date, but a hoodie you're driving around in the middle of the night with? Why is it in a dumpster 2 houses down? Why is her DNA on it? It's because he's the one driving her car around, taking her body to Warnemont Park. No intent to kill? What about all the horrible, disgusting, gruesome things that he did to her body? That shows intent to kill. He brought up this hair on the proximal bone, and his argument was Max was excluded from that hair. Do you remember whose hair that was? It was Sade's hair. He failed to mention that part just now. Just like he failed to bring up the latex gloves he brought up in his opening and said, certainly these gloves played a role in this crime. That was a quote. What a joke. Those gloves had nothing to do with this crime. Nothing. The blood on those gloves was neither Max nor Sade's. It's located a quarter-mile south of where this occurred. A week later, a smoke screen. Nothing to do with this crime. Maxwell Anderson was not walking away from the Honda Civic because he's in the wrong place at the wrong time. Why on earth is he walking around behind an abandoned building where the woman who he was on a date with the night before his car is getting set into flames and he's just casually walking away? And you did hear from the woman who saw him do it. You heard her on the video. You saw her point to him and say, he did it. Call the fire department. What's that all about? It's because he's the one who lit the car on fire to cover up all of this and calmly walk away because he's trying to get away. He's trying not to draw attention to himself. Asking you to completely speculate that something happened to her in the alley? Well, let me ask you this. How does she get in the alley if she's passed out of it, incapacitated on his couch? How would she have even gotten there? He's asking you to speculate. She's just instructed you, you can't speculate. You are not to speculate. That's what he wants you to do. That's what he wants you to do, to find Maxwell Anderson not guilty, but you can't. You follow the evidence. Not a single piece of evidence points to anybody else. Everything, at every single turn, even when police tried to focus on other things, like the latex glove, did it lead anywhere else except back to him? The broken pieces of car at the gate just happened to match the Honda that he's walking away from as it lights on fire. The beach where she is cut up, it's his beach. It's his place. Every single lead, every single thing the investigators did led back to Maxwell Anderson, and it is because Maxwell Anderson is the killer. He is responsible, so find him guilty.
Now, members of the jury, the duties of counsel in the court have been performed. The case has been argued by counsel. I've instructed you regarding the rules of law which should govern you in your deliberations. The time has now come when the great burden of reaching a just, fair, and conscientious decision of the case is to be thrown wholly upon you, the jurors selected for this important duty. You will not be swayed by sympathy, passion, or prejudice. You will be careful and deliberate in weighing the evidence. I charge you to keep your duty steadfastly in mind and as upright citizens to render a just and true verdict. You are to decide only whether the defendant is guilty or not guilty of the offenses charged. Any consequence of your verdicts are matters for me alone to decide and must not affect your deliberations. There will be 9 forms of verdict submitted to you regarding the charges against the defendant. As to count 1, there will be 3 verdicts. The first verdict reads, we, the jury, find Maxwell Anderson guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 1. Another reading is, we, the jury, find the defendant Maxwell Anderson guilty of first-degree reckless homicide in violation of section 940.02 sub 1 of the Criminal Code of Wisconsin at the time and place charged in count 1 of the information. And a third reading, we, the jury, find the defendant Maxwell Anderson not guilty. As to count 2, there are 2 verdicts. We, the jury, find the defendant Maxwell Anderson guilty of mutilating a corpse as charged in count 2. Another reading, we, the jury, find the defendant Maxwell Anderson not guilty of mutilating a corpse as charged in count 2. As to count 3, there's 2 verdicts. We, the jury, find the defendant Maxwell Anderson guilty of arson of property other than a building as charged in count 3 of the information. Another reading, we, the jury, find the defendant Maxwell Anderson not guilty of arson of property other than a building as charged in count 3 of the information. Lastly, as to count 4, there's 2 verdicts. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of hiding a corpse as charged in count 4, and another reading, we, the jury, find the defendant not guilty of hiding a corpse as charged in count 4. You are to bring in 1 verdict per count. It is for you to determine whether the defendant is guilty or not guilty of each of the offenses charged. You must make a finding as to each count in the information. Each count carries a separate crime, and you must consider each one separately. Your verdict for the crime charged in 1 count must not affect your verdict on any other count. Now, this is a criminal, not a civil matter. Therefore, before the jury may return a verdict that lawfully may be received, the verdict must be reached unanimously. In a criminal case, all 12 jurors must agree in order to arrive at a legal verdict. When you retire to the jury room, select one of your members to preside over your deliberations. The presiding juror's vote is entitled to no greater weight than that of any other jurors. If you need to communicate with me while you're deliberating, have the presiding juror send a note, time-stamped and signed by the presiding juror with your question. It may take some time to answer because I may consult with the attorneys before I respond, so you should continue your deliberations while you're waiting for a response. I will answer all of your questions either in writing or I'll bring you back into the courtroom and answer them on open record. When you've agreed upon your verdict, have it signed and dated by the presiding juror. Notify my bailiffs that a verdict has been reached. Everyone will return to the courtroom and your verdict will be read into the record in open court. I may ask each of you if you agree with the verdict.